Hi friends, this is Miss Jones. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm actually going to be doing a sewing tutorial. And the reason why I'm going to be doing this today is because for quite a while I've been promising that I would give sewing lessons to a number of students, fifth graders for their American Revolution, middle schoolers for the finance club. So I figured this would be a good way to do it. The project that I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to teach how to make a cloth mask. And actually, this is not an original design. I got this from another tutorial that I saw online, and I will put the link to that in the description of this video. I picked this particular YouTube to copy because the woman's directions are really good. She has two particular mask designs. This one is like a cupped design around the face, which I think is really, really quick and easy. I sewed it in about 20 minutes. The other design that she has is more the surgical pleated style that you see a lot of people doing. And then she also has patterns that you can print out if you don't have a printer. I do not have a printer at my house. She has directions for measuring and making your own or drawing your own, which is what I did. She also has modifications for children's sizes. This is an adult size. And the other thing that she has, which I really like, is if you don't know how to use a machine, she also has instructions for hand sewing. So I like all of her variations. So again, I will put the link to her tutorial in my description. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do, and I've already done this, is I got 100% cotton fabric, and you want to use 100% cotton because that's what's recommended by the CDC for this particular project. And you want to fold it in half, and you want to cut out your 4 pieces. So I got my pattern, I already cut out my pieces. So I've got like that, and I've got like that, and you can see that I folded it, and I'm going to turn the pieces, and I'm going to match them. So I'm going to put the right sides together. And for this project, I actually am not going to use pins, really. I do have them in case I need them, but I probably won't use them. So again, I'm matching my right sides together. This particular fabric is multi-directional, so don't really have an upside and a downside, although I did kind of cut it willy-nilly, so I do kind of check to see if the characters are mostly up or down. Okay, once you do that, we're going to sew along the rounded edge of each piece 3/8 of an inch in. So on my machine, 3/8 of an inch is this first line. Oy. Sorry, I'm using my coffee table. My dining table is now my office. So I'm going to line it up, put my presser foot down. Those of you guys who don't sew, it's a lever in the back, so I put my presser foot down. I'm going to step on my pedal, and I'm going to sew straight stitch forward. I'm only going to sew a little bit forward. There should be a lever. I'm going to raise up a little bit. There should be a lever on the top of your machine. Mine's is right here. That's your reverse, so that I can do a back stitch. I'm going to hold that down, I'm going to back stitch. The reason why I'm back stitching is because it seals the stitch so it doesn't come apart. So you want to make sure that you always back stitch whenever you start to sew. Now I'm going to go forward again, and I'm going to finish following my guideline. When I get to the end, I'm going to hold my reverse down again, and I'm going to back stitch and forward stitch to finish it off. Lift up my presser foot and cut off my extra thread and cut off all my extra threads. So you see here, sewed it like that. I'm going to do the same thing for my other. Presser foot down. I'm going to line it up a little bit better. Sorry guys. Never done this kind of tutorial before. This is a first for me. Okay, so I'm going to put my presser foot down, sew forward, hold my reverse, sew back, sew forward again, keep going So I get through the end, get to the end, hold my reverse, back stitch, go forward again, press your foot up, pull it out, and snip my thread. You always want to make sure you have a length of thread sticking out as well. And cut off all my extra threads. Okay. Now, per the instructions on the video, because I have a rounded edge, anytime you have a rounded edge, when you turn it right side out, you want to, ooh, excuse me as I whack my camera, you want to snip the edges. You're going to make little clip marks along, my scissors aren't so sharp, along the rounded edge. Be careful not to cut through your thread where you just sewed. And the reason why you clip it like this is because when you turn it right side out, it'll make it easier to lie flat. You also want to trim it down just a little bit because there's so much extra fabric. So I'm going to trim it like this, okay? In the video, it says do the reverse. It says cut off the extra fabric, then clip it. But for me, it's just easier to do it in this order. So again, I'm clipping toward my stitches so that I can turn it right side out and flatten it, being careful not to clip where I sewed. And then I'm going to just kind of trim off some of this extra fabric. Very good, like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up like this, okay? So open it up, both of them like that, okay? Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put the two sides matching each other. In her tutorial, she used two different prints, which is kind of cute because it made it reversible. Now, if you want to, you could use pins to hold it together, but I don't really feel like I need to because the fabric kind of, that's the nice thing about cotton, it's not slippery, it sticks together. So once you do that, you're gonna sew this side and this side together. Again, 3/8 of an inch in. So following all the same procedures that I just did. I just want to make sure that it's even. Okay, done with that side. Cutting it down, snipping off my extra thread. Okay, now I'm going to do my other side. Just double checking that it's lined up properly. Okay. So I'm gonna stick it under my presser foot. Sorry, it's shaking a lot. Again, I'm doing this on my coffee table. So my mom taught me how to sew when I was in lower elementary school on a machine. She thought it was really important that all of us knew how to sew, but my mom's also a professional seamstress. She does like costume designs, she makes dolls, that kind of stuff. So I learned how to sew pretty young. Okay, so now that I've done that, it looks like this. I have it open and I have an open. Okay, now we're gonna turn it right side out. Like that. Ta-da! And then I'm gonna take my iron, which actually my ironing board is right next to my table, and I'm gonna iron it flat. So give me 1 second while I iron it. Just right next to it. I didn't want to put my iron on my table, so I'm just ironing it nice and flat so that I can continue to sew. And if you don't iron it, it makes it a little bit challenging to finish off all of these seams. So that's why the ironing step is kind of important. And if you're working on this and you don't use an iron normally, because you're a kid, make sure that you get your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa or some other adult to help you with the iron. Okay, ta-da! So I ironed it, now it's nice and flat. Okay, the next step. So the next thing I'm gonna do is, I see how I have these edges here, that's called a raw edge. Now, a raw edge is where it's unfinished and the threads could come off. We don't want that raw edge, because if we wash this, which every time we wear a medical mask, we have to wash it, right? And same thing for any sewing project, you gotta wash it, right? If you're making clothes. We're gonna change our stitch to a zigzag stitch. So a zigzag stitch, I'm gonna move this over here. I'm actually gonna adjust this. Right now it's on a straight stitch. I'm gonna adjust this. Where's my zigzag? I'm going the wrong way. There it is. So it's a back and forth zigzag. And then I'm going to adjust my length on the top. Put this back. I don't actually have a serger. Those of you who know what a serger is, a serger finishes the edges. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag stitch it really close on the edge. Big mountain truck driving by my house. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually not use my back stitch. I'm going to go all the way across once. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Zigzag stitch. And then I'm going to do it one more time, right on top. Right on top of my original. Like that. Okay? So you see I did 2 zigzag stitches to close off that edge. And then I'm going to do it on the other side as well. And that's how I close off. Sorry, that's my cat in the background. And a siren outside. I live in a busy house. So a zigzag stitch to close it off, seal it, so that way when it washes it doesn't fall apart. Clipping off all these extra threads. Yes, Ghost, I hear you complaining. My cat's name is Ghost. Oh no, that's actually, oh, that's not Ghost, that's Joey, the outside cat. It's the garden cat. One more time. Zigzag stitching it shut, okay? So finishing off that edge. Now I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna adjust it back to my straight stitch, adjust my stitch length. Okay, cutting off all my loose threads. And then I wanna kind of straighten this up too. Okay? We're almost done with this project. See how easy this is? This is such an easy, fast project to do. Next step, and we're at the 13-minute mark on my video. Super easy to do. Oh, now the 2 cats are talking to each other through the door. Okay, so you can decide which is the front and the back of your mask. I think I'm gonna make, since that part looks a little weird, I think I'm gonna make this maybe the front of my mask. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fold this down, and you can measure it. I'm just gonna eyeball it. It's supposed to be about 3/8 of an inch. And again, make sure you go back to your straight stitch, not the zigzag stitch. I'm gonna fold it down 3/8 of an inch, and again, you can measure, but I'm just gonna eyeball it because I sew a lot. So eyeballing it, straight stitch, press your foot down, forward, back, forward again, back, and forward. Press your foot up, and voila, edge done. Gonna do the other edge. I'm gonna just pinch it down with my fingers. I'm not even gonna use pins, but you can if you want. Fold it down, sew it down, pull it out, snip off all your threads. Okay, all your threads. And the base of my mask is done. Now all I need to do is sew on my elastic for the ears. again, if you go onto her website or her video, you can see she sews on ear straps, she sews on ties around the head. She has a variety of methods. This is 1/2 inch wide elastic. It's all I have right now. Elastic's really hard to find. So, I'm using what I have. I do have elastic on order, but it's tricky. So this is all I have. I would not use this. It's very wide, but it's all I have for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to pin it. So I'm going to pin it. I'm going to line it up. Sorry, let me show you in the video. I'm going to line it up with my seam like this. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to take it off camera so I can hold it closer to my face and do it. I'm going to pin it on both sides so that I can sew it down. Okay, there we go. So you're going to pin it like that. The recommendation is 7 inches, but again, you can figure out based on your ear width what it should be. Okay, so stick it under your machine. This you got to sew slowly because you've got a pin in there, and it's pretty thick. I'm going to take my pin out once I got it stuck under there. Oops. Come on, doesn't want to go through. Oops. Let's see if I can get it from the other side. There we go. Because elastic has rubber in it, sometimes the rubber pieces get caught in the needle. Okay, there we go, much better. All right, now let me see if I can do this side. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. No, it doesn't want to work with me. Doesn't want to work with me right now. It's because I'm doing a live video. Shucks. Okay. One more time. This is always the trickiest part, is sewing the elastic. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Phew. Phew, phew, phew. Okay. So you see I sewed it down. I got to cut all this extra thread off. I got thread all over the table. Okay, so I got one side done. One side done. Phew. Okay, now let me do the other side real quick. I'm at the 18-minute mark. I said I would do it in 20 minutes. I think it's because I'm talking so much. Okay, less talking, more sewing. Here we go. One side down. Okay, boom. One side down, and let me flip up the other side. And I'm almost done, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. And then you guys will be able to do this on your own piece of cake. And seriously, this is such an easy project, and you guys can do this at home. And again, if you just want to do sewing projects, hopefully just practicing these straight stitch, back stitch, zigzag stitch will get you going. Oops, look at my threads all over the place. There we go. Boom, done. Okay. Okay, I am done. I made a mask in 20 minutes. super, super simple. This project was easy to do. I think it's easier than doing the one with the pleats on it. Has elastic. Again, you can do it all different kinds of ways. I will put the link in the description. This is the one that goes over the ears. You can do a child size one. Super, super easy to do, and you can sew it by hand too. If you have any questions about sewing, any kinds of projects, doesn't have to be this type of project in particular, you guys can always email me. So that's it for now. See you later, navigators.